is opposite the lift. The PTDF building is an intelligent building, purpose-built with your safety in mind. The building is equipped with smoke and fire detectors that provide advance warning of an emergency. Please note that this building is fitted with surveillance cameras and it is a non-smoking facility. The huge corridor walkways, open concepts, and numerous exit points make for easy evacuation in the unlikely event of an emergency. Wherever you find yourself in the building, take some time to observe the exit points nearest to you, clearly identified by the green walkman. In case of an emergency, please observe the following safety procedures. During an emergency, an alarm will go off and will sound continuously until the emergency situation is contained. Do not panic. Stay calm. Leave all your belongings and follow the direction leading to a safe evacuation from the building. Under no circumstances should you use the lift. Follow the safety evacuation signs and walk orderly to the muster point located beside the entrance gate post. Remain at the muster point until the emergency abates. You will not be allowed to go to the car park or drive out of the premises during an emergency. Do not re-enter the building unless you are told to do so by an HSE officer. Remember, safety is about information, but much more compliance. Have a safe time in the PTDF building.
Thank you very much for that safety tips, and I hope we'll comply to all the instructions that are there. And I would like to go back to the announcement of the personalities we have in our midst here. On second on our list, we have His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Godswill Opabio, the Senate President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he's ably represented by Distinguished Senator Engineer Baribe, the Chairman, Senate on Power. Can we give him a round of applause? Can we have him? You're welcome, sir. Thank you. You can have your seat. And we also have His Excellency, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he's also represented by Right Honorable Barrister Victor Nwakolo, Chairman, House Committee on Power. You're also welcome, sir. Thank you very much. You can have your seat. We also have, well, I will take a little leave by going to the next one. Distinguished Senator, well, you have already represented the Minister. We have Right Honorable Victor Enyemachi Nwakolo, which we have also announced. I don't know why you people repeated this over and over. We have Engineer Sanusi Garba, Chairman, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC. Can we acknowledge you, sir? All right, sorry for that again. We have Mr. Alex Oko, Director General, Bureau of Public Enterprises. All right, you're welcome, sir. Thank you. Have your seat. We have Colonel Sani Bello, retired. He is the Chairman, Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited. All right. You're welcome in our midst, sir. I take a little leave here and bring us to date on while we're here. Here in our midst today, we are here under the 2023 NESI Conference Program, which is on events and schedule of technical sessions and holding in the PTDF Auditorium, CBD Abuja. And today is the first day of our session. And I would like to use the opportunity to tell you all you're welcome. And my name is Patricia A. Samiluba, a diplomatic correspondent. I'm going to be your master of ceremony for for the session today. You're all welcome. Maybe a round of applause for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, sometimes when you're on this part of the table, it's a bit, I would say it takes the grace to do it, but I think I'm equal to the task. I guess so? Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll do justice to the responsibility I've been given here. Now, next on our agenda is to have, I don't know if he's ready. Can you go and check? Okay. We're going to welcome Professor Stephen Ogaji. He is the chairman, NESI 2023 Conference Planning Committee. Before he comes to the podium, you can start coming, sir. The first time I met him, I saw a gentleman. I saw a man with words. His smile alone was making me feel as if, do we have the set of people in Nigeria? But again, he's just a man, a simple man to the core. Sir, let me have you up here, and you give your preface. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. The President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by Sadiq Wanka, SA to the President on Power Infrastructure, Office of the Vice President. Your Excellencies, distinguished speakers, panelists, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the laid down protocol established by the MC because of time. It's an absolute privilege to stand before you today as we inaugurate the maiden edition of the Nigerian electricity supply industry, market participants and stakeholders roundtable, which we codenamed NMPSR. This moment marks a significant milestone in our journey towards a more robust and sustainable electricity supply industry in our great nation. Without doubt, the energy sector is the heartbeat of any thriving economy. And the NESI Roundtable demonstrates our collective commitment to advancing this critical sector. We gather here today as representatives from various sectors, public and private, regulatory bodies, investors, technocrats, and visionaries, all driven by a shared purpose to enhance and shape the trajectory of Nigeria's energy future. As we embark on the deliberations over the coming days, let us remember that the challenges we face are formidable, but so also is our collective capacity to address these challenges. Our discussions, collaborations, and insights will pave the way for innovative solutions that can usher in an era of reliable, efficient, and sustainable electricity supply. We must engage in constructive dialogues, challenge conventional thinking, and identify strategies that will not only transform our industry, but also the lives of Nigerian citizens. Our nation's progress relies heavily on the seamless functioning of the electricity supply industry. It powers industry, educates our youths, supports healthcare, and drives technological innovation, all precursors for the qualitative well-being and economic growth that are attributed to an advanced economy. The NMPSR offers us a platform to forge alliances, exchange ideas, and find common ground to overcome hurdles and champion progress. These are critical moments of the combined requirements of appraisal or assessment, acknowledgement, and definition of the way forward. And it is my hope that this event, reflecting the aforementioned, ultimately manifests itself as a Rubicon of progression in the power sector. It is because of the urgency of the need for a concerted effort by all the players and stakeholders to tackle the issues of the sector that we believe that there is no greater time than this 10-year milestone of the privatization of NESI for such a gathering. So let us be fearless. Let us be objective. Let us be deliberate. Let us be creative in our contributions via the presentations, panel discussions, and questions and answers that will ultimately result in the prescription of a roadmap or a way forward for the NESI. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all who have contributed to the realization of this inaugural event. The sponsors, the partners, the organizers, and every participant present here. Your contributions, dedications, and enthusiasm are the drivers of what I hope will be a successful conference. Let us make the most of this opportunity. Let us collaborate, and let us ensure that our efforts today and for the rest of this conference reverberates positively for generations to come. We have physical participants here. We have virtual contributors from around the world to this conference. And it will enrich the knowledge and what we take out from this to reshape this sector. May this NESI market participants and stakeholders roundtable be a beacon of hope and inspiration, guiding us towards a future where electricity is not just a commodity, but a catalyst for transformation. Together, we shall illuminate the path to a brighter Nigeria. God bless us all, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much, sirs.
Thank you very much, Sir Professor. Can we give him a round of applause, because he has set the ball rolling for us. He's been able to put us through to understand why we're here, the challenges, the prospects, the opportunities that stands for the nation to gain. And who can do it better than the power sector, electricity supply sector, to help us? Because when I was young, we used to scream when the light goes off. We say, oh, NEPA. But growing up again now, I don't even know whether it's to say NEPA, to say PSCN, to say NEC, or the names are just there. But the good thing is that they are doing their best, and we hope more and more will be done with your submissions that will be done today and subsequently. Now, next on the agenda, we have an opening remarks by Mr. Alex Oko, the Director General, Bureau of Public Enterprises. And that's another smiling face that I'm having. I don't know why I get captivated by faces. All right. Welcome, sir.
His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, ably represented by the Special Advisor on Power, my good friend, Malam Sadiq Wanka, distinguished Senate President, ably represented by the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Power, Senator Eyinaya Abaribe, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, ably represented also by the Chairman, House Committee on Power, the Honorable Minister of Power, Chief Bayo Adelabu, I believe he's on his way, distinguished market participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here today at this inaugural roundtable organized for market participants and other stakeholders in the Nigeria electricity supply industry, which also coincides with the commemoration of the 10th anniversary of the privatization of the electricity sector in Nigeria. The Bureau of Public Enterprises, of course we know, is the anchor agency for the power sector reform in Nigeria, and indeed it is my distinct privilege and honor to be invited to share some insights on the privatization of the power sector. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is pertinent to recall that the process which culminated in the privatization of the sector of the successor electricity generation and distribution companies of the defunct Power Holding Company of Nigeria 10 years ago actually commenced much earlier, in the early 2000s, by first conceptualizing and subsequently embarking on a broad range of strategic reform initiatives, which, among other things, delivered the following: the legal and regulatory framework for the power sector reform, including the enactment of the Nigeria Electricity Power Sector Reform Act in 2005. 2, the transfer of the functions, assets, and liabilities of the Nigeria Electricity Power Authority to the Power Holding Company of Nigeria. Thirdly, the incorporation of the relevant agencies, including the sector regulator, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, as well as the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, and other such institutions which would sort of provide institutional framework to anchor the reform. Fourthly, we had the subsequent vertical and horizontal unbundling of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, and of course, the privatization of the generation and distribution utility companies. The objective of the reforms was to address the persistent challenges that had plagued our electricity supply industry for decades, and it was grounded in the vision of fostering a more reliable, efficient, and sustainable power sector by bringing in private sector expertise, efficiency, and capital. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, integrity demands that we admit that we are not where we ought to be with regards to the original intendment and vision of the reforms. And some may even go further to say that we are far from where we set out to be. We must, however, not dwell on the past shortcomings, nor engage in this easy but unhelpful exercise of finger pointing. Should we decide to do that, there will be more than enough fingers pointing at everyone in and outside of this room. Please bear in mind that post-privatization, there were years of mutual non-performance by both the private sector and public entities. Huge market and tariff shortfalls, creating a huge liquidity problem and an imposing debt profile in the market, and other issues such as severe lack of investments, invariably creating a complex web of challenges which now face the sector. Virtually all of us in this room know these challenges, and we do not need to continue to dwell on them. What will be helpful is to jointly and constructively focus on what can be done to resolve these issues and achieve optimal performance of the NESI. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as the anchor agency of the power sector reforms, it is my view that the journey so far has witnessed both successes and setbacks, and it is essential for us to recognize and learn from both. I am delighted to highlight some of the successes and positive developments in the sector. One, we've seen increased generation capacity. Almost all of the privatized or concessioned generation companies have met their performance targets, with some exceeding their key performance parameters, especially with regards to capacity recovery. Two, there have been some improvements to the grid infrastructure, although not in total alignment with the generation capacity. Three, the sector has witnessed regulatory certainty, and quality of regulatory activities have significantly improved. Fourthly, the federal government has also initiated a series of interventions targeted at improving the technical, operational, and financial positions of the DISCOs. These include the Power Sector Recovery Program, the CBN interventions, including OPEX and CAPEX loan facilities, Distribution Sector Recovery Program in collaboration with the World Bank, National Mass Metering Program, and of course the Presidential Power Initiative. We've also seen attempts at partial activation of contracts and the general move to steer the sector towards a bilateral market. However, we are aware of the persistent challenges in the sector, including issues related to tariff adjustments, gas shortages, market discipline, financing challenges, and the need for further infrastructure investments, especially in the transmission and distribution segments of the value chain. We are committed to tackling these challenges head-on. Distinguished guests, this roundtable is not just a mere gathering of industry experts and stakeholders. I believe that it provides a platform for dialogue, a platform for innovation and collaboration. I believe this event provides a suitable forum to, one, critically assess the journey so far, to creatively address the challenges, and thirdly, to explore the immense prospects and opportunities for growth going forward, including the transition to clean energy and digital transformation, and of course, to collectively lay the groundwork for a brighter, more electrified future for Nigeria. As we engage in discussions, share insights, and collaborate, I would like to remind us of the renewed hope agenda of the administration of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, which includes a commitment to securing a Nigeria with an electrified future, where reliable and affordable electricity is accessible to all, where industries thrive, and the quality of life is improved for every citizen. I would like to reiterate the commitment of this government to work closely with the private sector to achieve this vision. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to your robust participation in the sessions, workshops, and discussions throughout this roundtable. Your expertise, experiences, and insights will be priceless in shaping the trajectory of the NESI. I want to thank you for your dedication and commitment to the Nigeria electricity supply industry. Together, I believe we can realize the full potential of this sector and ensure that it serves as a catalyst for our nation's growth, progress, and prosperity. I wish us all a successful and productive roundtable. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. And let's give him a round of applause while he gets his seat. Well, if you look down the program schedule, we will do a little bit of up and down change. We have one of our very own in the sector that based and because of his tight schedule, we decided to bring him on board. And while we were introducing our guest, we did not do that because we purposely wanted him to be here before we say it. Now, we're going to have the keynote address by Mr. Adebayo Adelabu. He is the Honorable Minister, Federal Republic of Nigeria under the power sector. Before he comes on board, I'll give us a little brief on who he is. He is a first-class degree recipient in accountancy from the Obafemi Awolowo University, a fellow of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN. He's also a fellow of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and an associate member of the Institute of Directors of Nigeria and that of the UK. You're welcome, sir. Let's give him a round of applause while he comes up to give us the keynote address. Sorry, I wish we could transfer that table. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I want to start by tendering my unreserved apology for coming in a bit late. It's not in my character to come to this kind of event late, but it was actually due to some circumstances beyond my personal control, like we say in Nigeria. I just must honor this event because it's very, very important to me, like it is to some of us here, because we're actually having the Federal Executive Council meeting this morning. I've got a paper to present in there. So, but this is very important, which is why I had to prioritize it. And thank you for bringing me up before my time. You will permit me to stand on existing protocol, and I want to thank the organizers of this event for the interest, the passion, and the commitment to make a success of the Nigeria electricity supply industry. In a way, they are helping me to do my job, and I believe with collaboration, cooperation, and partnership, we shall surely succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, distinguished guests, I'm truly delighted to be invited to present this keynote address at this very unique event, the 10th year anniversary of the privatization of the Nigeria's power sector, and the first Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI market participants, and other stakeholders roundtable. This is highly commendable, and at the same time, it's quite timely. I would like to commend the organizers for conceiving the idea to bring together key organizers, key players in the Nigerian electricity supply industry from both the public and the private sectors to appraise the power sector after 10 years of privatization, to discuss and assess the journey so far and suggest positive solutions that will address the challenges of the entire value chain. It is our responsibility to take up the challenges of seeking for solution to the diverse need of our immediate society. Like the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, mentioned in his inaugural speech that the responsibility to fix Nigeria is that of all of us. Everybody has a role to play. In the same vein, the responsibility to fix the challenges in the Nigeria electricity supply industry is that of everyone seated here. We all have our complementary roles to play. The Ministry of Power has its roles to play. The agencies under his supervision have their respective roles to play. From the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission to the Transmission Company of Nigeria to REA to NEMC, NEMSA to NEMCO to NAPTIN to the Bureau for Public Enterprise, BPA, to even BPP that's also involved in the procurement process. Now to the private sector operators, the gas companies, the power generating companies, the power distribution companies, even the customers, the contractors, the OEMs, the EPCs, everybody has one role or the other to play to achieve success. If one is missing, then the impact will be easily felt in the value chain, because a chain is as strong as its weakest point. So we all must wake up to our responsibilities to ensure that the priorities of the industry are achieved. The journey to privatization of the country's power sector is not an easy one, as we all know. And this has a legal backing with the enactment of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2003. However, privatization had been done, and the power subsector of generation and distribution had been handed over to the private sector to operate and manage by bringing innovations through the injection of private capital to transform the subsector. That was a huge leap by the government to display its sincerity of collaborating with the private sectors to achieve a success for the industry. Now, the questions in the public domain is, after 10 years of taking over the assets, have these core investors transformed the sector by adhering to the terms and conditions of their licenses? That is the questions we need to ask ourselves. And we must be very sincere in providing a response to this, if truly we're interested in moving the industry forward. There should not be any hanky-panky in answering this question. Has the privatization achieved its objective? In our minds, I know a lot will be going on. But we need to approach this with all sincerity and the commitment and passion to move us forward. Because a problem discussed is half solved. You can now take steps to ensure that those bottlenecks that we currently have are removed. Like I said, these are one of the questions that need an urgent answer from this roundtable discussion. We must answer that singular question. Have we achieved the objectives of privatization? Is that a yes or no? There is no in-between answer. In answering a yes, you will look at, okay, what are the things that we still need to improve? In answering a no, then we have a big challenge. Do we continue with it? Do we make a 360-degree turn? 1 and face other options. If the answer is in between, then what are those things to focus on to improve, to actually achieve a pass mark? We need to grade it from a radar of 0 to 100. Where are we at the moment? There won't be any meaningful discussion if you don't answer this question first. And we must be sincere with it. The present administration of His Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, with the renewed hope agenda, has identified energy availability as directly leading to economic growth and industrial development. There was a time the president went somewhere, I think it was in India, and he spoke a lot about the abundance of human resources available in Nigeria, the abundance of natural mineral resources available in Nigeria. These are natural endowments. Like they say that cow don't make milk, but we milk the cow. If this abundance of human resources and that of natural mineral resources are not harnessed, it amounts to nothing. And how do you harness this without energy access? You can only energize these human resources and the natural mineral resources through power. If power is not available, then we are still joking. I constantly make reference to 2 countries. Fine, I'm sorry, they might be in Asia. South Korea is a population of 48, 49 million. They generate 130,000 megawatts of power. That's why you see the heavy development of the heavy industries. They are everywhere. And they made the decision about 40 years ago by identifying power as the major driver of their industrial development. The likes of Daewoo, Hyundai, LG, and so on and so forth. They were small companies in the 60s. But today, they are industrial giants because the government was able to make power available to them. And to shipbuilding, automobiles, electronics, computers, technology, and all sorts. We'll keep paying lip service to development of our industries until we resolve the issue of power. The same goes with China today. China is a population of a little over 1.4 billion people. They generate 1.3 million megawatts of power. Oh, you could say, oh, it's coal and all that. 5 years ago, coal content was about 87% of their power generation. But on realizing that they needed to renew this, they needed to transform to less carbon emission power. They took that step, and coal is just 57% of the content of power generated in China today. Imagine achieving about 25% reduction from coal to hydro, to solar, to wind. There is nothing they need for economic growth in that country today that they cannot get from power. We're a population of over 200 million. You could say, oh, we generate so much too. The preponderance of households today, of small businesses, of industries, they rely on petrol and diesel generators for their power. The national grid only generates a little over 4,000 megawatts. It is shameful. Sincerely, it's something that I'm not proud of saying outside. We've been earning of this 4,000 megawatts of power since we were small. We have grown up now. We are still on this 4,000 megawatts of power. What is our problem? Are we really serious to make an impact? in industrial development. If you don't grow your economy, if you don't develop your industry, you should stop talking about unemployment. It will persist forever. It will persist forever. Even agric requires power, our natural occupation. But it has gone from subsistence to mechanized farming now. For irrigation alone, you need some huge amount of power. And because of inconsistency of rain across the regions, the seasonality, you need irrigation. You need to produce fertilizers. You need to process agric primary products. So we need power in every facet of our lives. The government is doing everything possible to increase the availability, the reliability, and affordability of power. To achieve this, we are putting structure to balance our energy mix. When we talk about balancing our energy mix, it's desirable, sincerely. I know that we have an energy transition plan to achieve net zero carbon emission by 2060. But I can still tell you that by 2030, our target will still be more of hydro and thermal, because we need to, first of all, establish our base load of power, because we can achieve quantum, ramp up the renewable energy. A lot of the countries over the world talking about transiting to renewable energy already have their base load. They are only replacing with cleaner energy. This effort will eventually produce an economy on the right trajectory for growth. Now that you are talking about growth rate of less than 3%, and we are targeting 5-6%, if we have power and we're able to energize industries, large industries, cottage industries, small businesses, I can assure you we'll be talking about double-digit growth. We will be talking about double-digit growth. To this end, government will look at the existing policies, empower industry, and improve on them for better service delivery to Nigerians. I must not fail to mention here that the power industry needs more collaboration, cooperation, and partnership with the private sector operators more than any ministry in Nigeria. Because we need to understand the model of each of the ministries where we work. If government makes available enough money for the Ministry of Works, Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Agriculture today, from tomorrow, you start seeing impacts, because they have full control of their activities. All they do is to assess the need gap, award the contract, supervise it, and make the contractors to do the job. But power industry is different. In the entire value chain, it is only the midware, which is the transmission. That is what government has full control over. If you talk about the gas aggregators, the generating companies, and the power distribution, they are all privatized, which is why the only way we can influence growth, efficiency, and effectiveness in the industry is twofold. Number one is enabling policies to ensure that these private sector operators are whipped into line. Government policies. Then the other side is investment in infrastructures. It is straightforward for transmission. You can easily invest in infrastructures, budget for it, invite some development partners to support us. But investing in generation and distribution has to be handled with a lot of sensitivity, because those segments are in the hands of private sector. And our roles are quite complementary. When I was asking the other time that Have these core investors complied with the terms and conditions of the licenses? I would not fail to also ask government whether government has played its own part of the game. So the global energy system is driven by factors such as rising demand, technological innovations, and environmental issues, just to mention a few. Hence, the contribution of every Nigerian, especially the NMPSR, that is the necessary market participants and other stakeholders, is relevant at this moment that we are faced with Hydra-headed challenges in the power sector. It is my firm belief that our duty as necessary stakeholders to deliver the services expected of us, we need to tell ourselves the truth objectively, whether we have achieved the objectives of the power sector privatization or not. The federal government has been intervening in many programs to bring in liquidity to the sector. Liquidity is actually the name of the game, from generation to transmission to distribution. The last mile connection should be given top priority. No matter the amount of power we generate, no matter the amount of transmission, with all the losses all over, if it does not get to the end consumer that is ready, willing, and able to pay for power, the entire value chain will suffer from liquidity. And if you don't have liquidity, you cannot invest in infrastructures. You cannot improve the infrastructures. All we'll be calling for is government subsidy. Because today, power still remains a quasi-social service. There's a commercial part of it, there's a social part of it. If there's no power anywhere today, they will not shout the name of the discos, they won't shout the name of the Tranco or Genco. They will shout the name of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president. They will shout the name of the Minister of Power as Adebayo Adelabu. They will abuse, they will curse, they will do everything. Which is why we must take this with all the seriousness that it deserves. I don't blame them for abusing. I don't blame them for cursing, because I had done it before now too, before I joined the industry. But when you join the industry and the reality is done on you, you know what are the real issues, what are the real factors, and how do you address these issues. So we should accord priority to national interests rather than personal or corporate interest in our operations. I therefore wish to urge the private sector to ensure that the confidence reposed in them through the privatization of the power sector is maintained by adhering to the terms and conditions of their license. Otherwise, the government will take appropriate decision to make the sector perform the way it is supposed to, work by invoking the necessary clauses in the terms and conditions in the licenses and the performance agreement signed with the federal government of Nigeria, as well as the sections of the 2023 EPRS Act. I need to let you know that renewal of licenses cannot be automatic. This is 10 years after. I know a number of licenses will be expiring. This is the time to have serious conversations. At the time it was done in 2013, probably we were soft with ourselves, because nobody actually knew where we were going. We all thought it was going to be a jamboree, like the telecoms and all that. But now that we have faced the reality, we know what is involved. And we'll be talking from positions of knowledge. We should have serious conversation. Do I really want to play in this industry? You should ask yourself as a Genco. You should ask yourself as a Disco. The profitability that attracted me to this industry, is it there in the short term? If it is not, am I ready to wait for the long term to achieve this? Sincerely, if I could tell you my personal opinion, for this privatization. If I had my way, or if I was involved with the benefit of hindsight, except we have a solution around it. Privatization of the electricity supply industry is not the best for a developing economy like ours. I would rather go for a commercialization. Yes, but the government cannot stop spending on electricity. You can't leave everything in the hands of private sector. They don't have the tenacity, the patience, and the commitment to supply the kind of investment required. Because the gain or the profit of the electricity industry is not in the electricity industry itself. It is in development of your industries. It is in the economic growth indices. It is in the 24/7 power supply to the households. It is in the development of the cottage industries. It is external to the industry. That is the real fact. Now that this revelation is coming, are we ready to play by the rules? So, in trying to renew the licenses, we'll ask such questions. And I'm sure it can never be all licenses that will be renewed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not yet time for me to present my achievements in this short time at the aims of affairs of the ministry. 21st of October, that was just a few days back. We were 2 months old in office as ministers. And anybody that actually knows his onions will not get to a ministry, whether his background is relevant to the ministry or not, whether an engineer, an accountant, or a bank, anywhere you get to, a month after you cannot come out and say, I will do this, I will do that. You need a diagnosis analysis. You need to understand the situation. You need to engage the stakeholders. You need to understand the problems. And together, discuss solutions, workable solutions with operators that have been existing before you come. So what we have been doing in the past 2 months is to engage the operators, to engage stakeholders, to appreciate what the problems are, and try to come up, to put up a draft turnaround master plan. Draft, I said, which also has to be discussed. We are organizing a retreat for the federal cabinet starting on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. After the retreat, the power sector stakeholders too, we are coming together by the middle of November to jointly agree on what the roadmap to transformation will be. Not one person can do it. If you like, be a professor of electricity law, be a professor of electricity engineering or whatever engineering in the power sector. You can't do it alone because a lot of people need to bring in a lot of expertise, a lot of experiences, both within and outside the country, and historical background to these issues. Bring people that understand the issues. That's the only way you can arrive at practical solutions to solve the problem of electricity in Nigeria. So the Ministry of Power and all its agencies, together with some invited guests from DISCOs, from GENCOs, from the Tranco, from the gas aggregating companies, will come together and discuss for 2-3 days. And we'll all come together with an agreement on what the transformation roadmap should be. Not just like we've been having in the past. This will be practical roadmap on what we should be looking at. We continue concentrating on the grid. So, improve capacity 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000 to 10,000. In 5 years, are you able to achieve that? Are there alternative approaches in terms of distributed powers? Have captive, embedded, all over. What are the roles of the state governments? How practical are the contents of the Electricity Act itself? And how do we take advantage of the act to achieve success in the industry? So I want to plead for a little patience with the stakeholders that by God's grace, inshallah, before the end of this year, we will announce what the power sector transformation roadmap will be. We're working on it, and we're trying to get the buy-in of all stakeholders. Thank you. At the ministry, we appreciate the enormity of the problems involved in all the segments of the value chain. Like I told you, the GENCOs have their own issues, from shortage of gas supply, to pricing of gas, to pipeline vandalization, to dilapidating and aging turbines, rusting equipment, and lack of liquidity to service them. Up to transmission, where we have old substations. Some transformers in substations are still carrying ECN, Electricity Company of Nigeria, 1964. While the engineers servicing them, they were born in the 80s. How arrogant can those transformers be? That these engineers were not even born when I was installed. We have not changed them with time. You have weak lines, falling towers, and the entire transmission grid goes into collapse regularly. There is absence of IT in terms of supervising and controlling the grid itself. Not to talk of the distribution companies who have not even invested at all in infrastructures. Old, weak, dilapidated transformers, weak lines, suffering from wear and tear. Then the issue of metering gap. If you don't meter, you cannot measure. If you don't measure, you cannot bill. If you don't bill, you cannot collect. And we talk about ATC and C losses in the upward of 40–50%. Where is that done? Which is why majority of the countries I just mentioned to you, all these things are still in the hands of the government. All they do was to commercialize the entire value chain. So the issue of technical competency of DISCOs, discussed. Among all our DISCOs, who are their technical partners? The issue of financial credibility. How much can they invest in this industry? Are they short-term profiteering agents? Or are they looking at long-term? So many issues that we have to discuss. But Power Ministry needs the cooperation of the private sector, like I said, more than any other ministry. Because 2 out of our major segments in the value chain are in the hands of private sector operators. So we have to work with you. So I would like to kindly solicit for your constructive opinions and cooperation for performance-minded private sector-led NESI. Let me reassure you that His Excellency, Mr. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and I, as the Honorable Minister of Power, are committed to delivering adequate and reliable power supply to Nigerians for economic growth and job creation, God willing. Therefore, feel free to lend your voice to the efforts being made for repositioning the power sector for improved performance and service delivery. Thank you for listening, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Can we please be on our feet to appreciate our minister? Please, give him a rounding applause. That was a very, very robust presentation. And my minister, I would, please, we can sit down. Please, let's sit. Minister, I can see a man with a passionate feeling over the power sector. And because of what I see in you, you go far. And we are going to see ourselves better than whatever we are even imagining. Now, we're going to go virtually. We have somebody, and I'll pledge your indulgence, my minister. You have the FEC meeting, which I'm aware of, you're supposed to go for. But if you can give us a little of your time, we have somebody from Egypt. We're using the case as a case study. It's going to talk to us virtually. I would love if you would just hang around and hear what they have, because the reason is because they are going to share their experience with us because they were able to revamp their own generation to 14,400 megawatts within 3 years. And if we want to have more clarity, we can Google this information. So we're going to have the Egyptian Power Sector Transformation Program, which is represented by Mohammed Mahmoud El-Sisi, the Vice Chairman, Egyptian Electricity Holding Company. And he's going to reach us via Zoom. I think,
yes,
are you hearing me?
With you.
Yeah, Mr.
Zoom.
Mahmoud, yes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
You're welcome.
May I start?
Yeah, everybody's hearing
Okay.
you, and the floor is yours. Now you can talk to us.
Okay. My voice is clear to you, or
Very
is there
clear.
some problem?
Very clear,
Okay.
and your sitting
Okay.
position is good enough. So we
Okay.
can have you talk to us.
Okay.
The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I was supposed to attend this conference, but for some urgent commitment with high-level meetings, I'm very busy during this week, so I'm sorry I can't attend this conference, but I promise you that any further conference in Nigeria will be attended. And let me introduce myself to you. My name is Mohammed Mahmoud Hussein. I'm a vice chairman of EHC Holding Company. My past experience was working as a chairman of South Cairo Distribution Company, and also I was working with Transmission Company as vice chairman for financial and administration affairs, and I was working in National Energy Control Centers. Let me tell you the stories about Egypt. In May 2014, we elected the new president, Mr. Sisi, to be the president of our Arab Republic of Egypt. At that time was a deficit of energy. We have shortage, about 6 gigawatt. It started from 2008. It started with 2.8 gigawatt and reached 6 gigawatt in 2014. By September 2014, after 5 months from the election of the president, he said that energy and electricity is national security, and we should make the electricity access to all the Egyptians with no interruptions. So immediately after that, we start to build up a fast-track project with about 3.6 gigawatt, and we did it in about 8 months. By summer of 2015, we already have fixed the gap between generation and consumptions, and since that date, we didn't have any interruption for consumer in Egypt. But we not also stop with that. We sign a contract with Siemens during the forum in Sharm el-Sheikh in 2015 to build up a mega project with 14.4 gigawatts, 3 mega projects, 3 power plant. Each one is about 4.8 gigawatt combined cycle frame F. We built up this mega project, the 3 major substations, in 2.5 years. So by 2018, we have capacity maybe 1.3 of the consumption. So about 30% surplus, and this is according to IEC standard reserve for any advanced country. The project has a huge, as if you go through the slides, you can see the project has a huge effort, and all the sectors in Egypt has cooperated together: military, electricity sector, custom department. Everyone was cooperating together all to finalize this project in 2.5 years, with very huge numbers of effort which has been done. It's shown in the slides that we have cable used about 6,800,000 meters. We have backfilling about 4,000,000, 2.7 thousand cubic meters, and we have travel man hours about 133,000 trips, and also we have about 145 million man hours with very minor incidents, and also have concrete used about 8,845.7 cubic meters, thousands, and we have at end the production of 1,400.4 megawatt. And when we make the celebration of the opening of this power plant, the CEO of Siemens said, when I get a questions from some reporters, he said, you can build this project in any other country in 2.5 years? He said, no, I can't do that unless I get some Egyptian engineers, because the Egyptians work too hard. So we don't only do that, we add some transmission line. We add about 4.6 thousand kilometers, 500 kV, and this is about 150% of the length which has been existing by 2013. Also, we add about 333,375 megavolt ampere through substation, which about 340% of the existing substations up to 2014. So from 2014 to 2020, we have too much effort to make the electricity very stable in Egypt, and now we have access to all the Egyptian people 100%, about 99.99% by the grid and 0.001% by these generators. Also, we don't only stop in this, but we start to look for the renewable energy, because most of the world now looking to renewable energy, because the fossil fuel will be disappear in coming 50 years. So our target is to have 20% of our entire capacity renewable energy by year 2022, and by year 2035 we supposed to have 42% of total capacity by renewable. During last November 2022, we host the COP27, and during this conference, this room, we have signed about 28 MOU to make the green hydrogen and wind project. And by this time, we have and also have big solar farm in Bimban. Its capacity is about 1.5 gigawatt, and this ranked number 3 bigger solar farm in all over the world. Bimban solar farm is number 3, ranking number 3, and we add about 21.7 BV from the renewable by 2035. We are going to have 21.7 from the total capacity by BV, and 14.4 wind, and 4.3 CSB, and 2 giga hydro. So we supposed to have 42% of the renewable energy by year 2035. If you go to the slides, you can find at the end of June 2023, the consultant issues the update result of the strategy preliminary result of the strategy updated indicate that the contribution of renewable energy by 2040 generated electricity will be about 74%, and installed capacity will be about 50%, and the green scenario will be 82% and 57%. This already shown in the slide. You can go through it. Now in Egypt, we are looking to keep all the update technology for generated and operating the Siemens mega project. It's 100% operated by Egyptian engineers. And as we said that we also look to how to reduce the fuel consumptions. We reduce the fuel consumption from about 235 grams by equivalent fuel to about 170 grams, which is a huge saving of fuel. And we add some steam combined cycle units to the single steam steam power stations. So most of our power station now is combined cycle, which have one steam unit. It's generated with no fuel. It's used the exhausting from the steam generator to the heat recovery steam generators, and then we generate about 1/3 of the total capacity of the combined cycle by no fuel. So what I'd like to address that we Egypt as a part of Eastern African country, and we are a member of EAB. So we are very happy to host any training for any colleagues from Nigeria or any African country, and also we also can transfer all our experience with any African countries, because we look that all the African people should have 100% access to electricity as in Egypt, because the electricity is the wheel of development in any country, and we dream that in the near future we have African Union, and our president said he already start to have a train start from Cairo to Johannesburg in South Africa. So we hope that all the African countries should be cooperated together in order to have new Africa to be as an advanced country. Thank you for to be with you, and as I promise you, next time I will attend any conference in China. Thank you, and I hope to have a very good conference. Goodbye.
Yeah, Mr. Mahmoud, thank you very much for that very sharing of your experience with us. And we appreciate the minister for at least staying back, and yeah, have a very good day, and enjoy the FEC meeting. While we
if
go
there are
on,
any questions, I'm ready to answer any question.
Hello, you can turn him off, I think. Okay. Before we go further, I would like to let us know that we have a medical team on ground. In case you have need for them, they are right by the usher side, and we can take yeah, okay, you can help me put that there. We can take advantage of that. We also have a tea section where if we have a need for coffee, green tea, tea, whatever, some warm water, we also have it kept at the, I think, one of the rooms just by the entrance. We also have, the convenience is also available in case we feel pressed. We have the ladies and we have for the gents. While that is going on, we'll go to the next item. I won't be selfish to be alone doing this. So, and there's this statement, they say, behind every successful man, there's a woman. But in this case, behind every successful woman, there's a man. though not so relationship attached. I have a good friend, he's also a media practitioner. I would like him to come and ginger us a little. I would call Mr. Enenche. Can you come and take this podium and discuss a little with our people for just 2 minutes while we get set for the goodwill messages? You do me the honor to introduce the next person. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Pa. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning. Inakwana, Ekaro, Otutuoma, Mensere, Niede, Uwese, Mwachi, Olodudu, Awalijam. You responding now. All right, thank you very much. It's once again the Nigerian electricity supply industry, market participants and stakeholders roundtable, reviewing 10 years of the privatization of the power sector in Nigeria, the prospects, the opportunities. For me, why so far, based on the environment, like the Honorable Minister has rightly said, based on the environment we found ourselves, we've tried our best and are looking forward to how the future will be. Before I proceed, my name is Enenche, like Lady Pat had rightly said, one young Nigerian woman who has galvanized talent across this great nation of ours. It's our prayer that this outing today will bring a robust and fruitful face to the power sector in Nigeria. Let's appreciate every one of you in the house. Put your hands together for yourselves. The men and women who are working behind the scene as we are speaking at this venue, just like Mr. Stella actually put it, some of the challenges they go through, the ones, some of the things also, it's not that very easy for them. We say thank you to you all. Next on our program here this morning is the goodwill message by the acting executive secretary and CEO of the PTDF, Mr. Hamed Galadima Aminu, will be given by his representative, Mr. Usman Bindar, Deputy General Manager, Nigerian Content. Please, can you put your hands together for the goodwill message from the PTDF, please? We can do better, we can do better, we can do better, please. We can clap, 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 clap. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the distinguished President of the National Assembly, and the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Minister of Power, I can do that to his seat, I hope, heads of other government agencies here present, our father, the Chairman of Mainstream Energy, Colonel Sani Bello, distinguished participants, Professor Ogaji and his team, players in the power sector, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to start by correcting the fact that Aminu Ahmed Galadima is no more acting. He is the Chief Executive of the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, substantially. Thank you. My name, as has been said, is Usman Pindar, and I'm representing both Mr. Galadima and the PTDF. When I was told to come here, I thought my role was simply to read the remarks of the Chief Executive and then go and sit down. But seeing the experiences in the room and the gentlemen gathered here, I was tempted to just read the protocol list and find a way of saying welcome to the PTDF and run back to my seat because it is really overwhelming. So we deserve a round of applause for NESI, please. Thank you. I am a public officer, so when you are directed, you do as you are directed. And I would have to read, therefore, the speech of the Chief Executive. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for the PTDF to be hosting the 2023 Nigerian Electricity Supply Industry Participants and Stakeholders Roundtable. The theme, as we all know, is NESI privatization and its 10-year milestone. This is very germane to the realization of government's electricity sector reform objectives. These objectives, as we all know, is aimed at fostering a healthy business environment for foreign direct investment and consequently improving revenue inflows and the energy sector's contribution to the national GDP. Presently, we've been made to understand that the Nigerian energy sector continues to generate a sizable revenue from its energy resources and therefore contributes immensely to global energy consumption. However, despite its contribution to the energy global mix, Nigeria and indeed Africa are rated low in energy consumption, and our country is suffering from increasing energy poverty resulting from a combination of inadequacy of supply and increasing demand through population growth. It is imperative, therefore, that homegrown solutions to these challenges are developed as fast as possible to balance the huge and ever-widening gap between in-country supply and demand for energy. It is our hope, therefore, that part of the outcomes of this roundtable will address some of these challenges. But in developing these challenge solutions, the importance of homegrown human capital cannot be overemphasized. Indeed, the technical and managerial competencies developed to manage the Nigerian energy sector effectively will be the vehicle that will drive the sector to its articulated objectives. The PTDF, as the foremost human capacity building agency of government, established, if you don't know, by Act 25 of 1973, is mainly dedicated to the development of indigenous human capital and technology for the energy sector, including the electricity subsector. From 2001 to date, through the PTDF's interventions, we have trained and upskilled over 50,000 Nigerians in various skills and competency segments for the energy sector. In view of the foregoing and the dynamic nature of the industry, there is therefore the need for even more closer collaboration between the fund and other sectoral players in the industry. Such sectoral players, such collaboration cannot be overemphasized. And this is where critical players like the NESI need to work closely with the PTDF in sharing information in critical areas and in the identification of skills gaps in the sector. Such identification through collaboration will allow the PTDF to tailor its interventions to meet specific industry needs in the electricity subsector. We have at the PTDF already laid the foundation for such collaboration and partnership. We have developed world-class centers of excellence in Port Harcourt and in Kaduna to cater for the training and research needs of the Nigerian energy sector. We therefore look forward to working with NESI so that we can create such value as may be needed by the industry to solve some of the challenges that may be identified through such roundtables as we're about to embark upon. Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to commend in conclusion the efforts of NESI in bringing together stakeholders as I here to discuss topical issues affecting the electricity value chain and to assure you that the PTDF is willing and always ready to partner for such value-adding interventions as we have today within our premises. We appreciate everyone that is here, and it is our hope that this roundtable will go a long way in addressing issues affecting the Nigerian electricity sector. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, may I therefore, as directed and on behalf of the Executive Secretary, welcome you all to the PTDF and thank you for the opportunity to stand here and give his remarks. Welcome to the PTDF and thank you. And I hope I've done justice to his paper. Thank you very much.
Check. You have not just done justice to the paper in an active capacity, but in a substantial capacity. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate it. Thank you very much, PTDF. Next is goodwill message by Mr. Brooke Adam, United States Agency for International Development, USAID.
Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to stand on established protocol in the interest of time. On behalf of the U.S. Agency for International Development and Power Africa, I would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity to reflect on the Nigeria power sector's accomplishments and challenges over the past 10 years. 2023 is an important year, marking 10 years since the privatization of the Nigerian power electricity supply industry and since the launch of Power Africa. When President Obama launched Power Africa in 2013, he had a simple yet audacious idea: to build a partnership between the US government, public and private partners to end energy poverty in sub-Saharan Africa. 10 years later, through the power of partnership, Power Africa is making a difference. Working with over 200 partners, Power Africa has connected over 190 million people living and working in sub-Saharan Africa with new or improved electricity access, boosting incomes, powering businesses, and strengthening communities. Nigeria is one of our most important partner countries, and we are pleased to have contributed to power sector development and reform. Through our flagship Power Africa Nigeria Power Sector Program, or Power Africa NPSP, we support comprehensive power sector reform, strengthening the enabling environment, and increasing public and private investment to improve Nigeria's access to affordable and reliable power. Though the Nigerian power sector faces significant challenges, as we're all gathered here today to discuss, we also seen really important progress, which I think it's important to acknowledge. Over the past 5 years, our technical assistance through PA and PSP has contributed to some of these achievements by Nigeria's public and private sectors. For starters, we are proud with our public and private sector partners to have supported over 4.7 million new on and off grid connections, bringing more reliable power to over 25 million Nigerians since 2018. USAID Power Africa also provides tailored business advisory support to over 190 off-grid companies. At the start of our work in Nigeria, and simply 5 years ago for all of us in the sector, the off-grid sector was a nascent market with only a handful of companies. Through our joint efforts, particularly with the cooperation of the Rural Electrification Agency, we scaled operations, built financial tools, and provided business support to Nigeria's burgeoning class of off-grid entrepreneurs. In 2022, Nigeria was the largest off-grid renewable energy power market in Africa. So again, a terrific growth story there. In addition, Power Africa provides strategic technical support and embedded advisors to key government agencies in the off-grid and on-grid space to enhance their understanding of critical contractual agreements, power purchase agreement structures, and other market-driven functions to drive the market's continued privatization and growth. As part of our embedded advisor program, Power Africa also supported the federal government of Nigeria to fulfill conditions and secure disbursements of $720 million through the World Bank's Power Sector Recovery Program, the sector's signature performance-based loan. This achievement has been critical to achieving the market's liquidity. These successes really demonstrate the importance of constructive public-private conversations and partnerships in identifying pathways and market opportunities to continue growing the sector. So in closing, it's my hope that for you, the most important stakeholders in the sector, and for us in the development partner community who seek to support you, that we use discussions like this roundtable to continue our frank conversations over the state of the sector, its evolution over the past 10 years, and identify and plan actions to develop avenues for continued growth. USAID and Power Africa look forward to continuing to partner with public and private actors in the Nigerian power sector to achieve our shared vision of universal access to clean, affordable, and reliable power for Nigeria's households, industries, and public institutions. Once again, in closing, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to attend this roundtable, and I look forward to the robust discussions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Brooke Adam of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. And next on our good message here this morning is given by Colonel Sani Bello, retired, Chairman, Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited. Will you please put your hands together for him? He worked in the Nigerian Armed Forces, rose to the rank of Colonel, where he retired in honor and glory. And today, the Nigerian power sector is still adding value to nation building. Please, can we give him, an elder statesman, a nationalistic hand clap as he proceeds to the podium. Colonel Sani Bello, retired, Chairman, Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited. Sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to stand on the existing protocol. It is my privilege to deliver this goodwill message to the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI, policymakers, regulators, and stakeholders who have defined Nigeria's journey into repositioning power industry through privatization. It has been a decade of challenges and achievements for the sector since 2013, when Nigeria decided to privatize sector partnership to participate in the development of the power sector in an effort to bring in critical capital to finance and rehabilitate power infrastructures. After a decade of the privatization of the NESI, our industry has evolved and has made positive strides and impact on the Nigerian economic landscape through investments in capacity recovery and capacity expansion, thereby increasing the installed industry generation capacity. A classic example in the hydropower space was the Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited, of which I happen to be the chairman. When we took over Kanji and Jaba hydropower plants, Kanji power plant was generating 0 kilowatt hour. The total then for the two plants was 460 megawatts out of 1,300 megawatts. Today, we are having a available combined capacity of over 1,000 megawatts for both plants. A fellow hydro company, North South Power, NSP, has also achieved a great stride in the rehabilitation of its plant. Hydropower electricity currently accounts for 30% of the power of the national grid. It is pertinent to note that despite these achievements in the sector, energy transmission and distribution still poses a severe challenge to a functional NESI due to the state of the infrastructure and requires significant capital to finance its reputation and expansion. The general generation installed capacity of about 13,000 megawatts is more than the transmission capacity of 8,000 megawatts, and with the distribution subsector taking up less than 5,000 megawatts. This indicates the need for increased investments in these subsectors of NESI to further boost energy supply to end users. The major challenges we continue to tackle with today is the lack of cost-reflective tariff that will provide sustainable liquidity for the entire value chain. Strengthened by laws and enforcement abilities to these laws that will criminalize and deter energy theft, as well as non-payment of electricity bills. We also implore that all arms of government and government agencies also pay all their invoices to the NESI. This will serve as the leading example to the populace to sustain and support the sector. Additionally, multiple taxation, levies, and the value chain have hindered the growth of the industry and prevented the inflow of investment to the sector. The ever-present liquidity challenge, exacerbated by inflation and the death of foreign currency, continues to affect operations. While we acknowledge the effort of the current administration in trying to resolve and improve the foreign exchange environment, we look forward to a way out that will midwife the enabling environment for existing and prospective investors to thrive within the NSE. As we celebrate this milestone, 10 years, all the stakeholders are invited to remain focused, resilient, and be committed to the Nigerian industrialization agenda to aid economic growth through the development and the vibrant power sector. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, can we put our hands together for Colonel Sani Bello, retired, Chairman, Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited. Thank you, sir. Next, on our goodwill message, will be given by Engineer Sanusi Garuba, Chairman, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, who is represented in the House by a GM of the organization. Please, can you put your hands together for his representative, please?
A very good morning. I'm standing in as a representative of the chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. By name, I'm Sharifuddin Mahmoud, General Manager, Market Competition and Rate of the Electricity Regulatory Commission. I do not have a speech, actually, from the chairman. But the chairman wished to express his sincere apology for the unavoidable absence. So just like the representative of the executive secretary of PTDF mentioned, as a public servant, I'm directed. So I was directed to be here. The chairman never knew that he has a speech to make. He just asked me to be here physically. So I'm here physically, but I have now been tasked with delivering a speech. So I won't belabor you much, and I wish to also stand on the existing protocol. So I have something, just some few words to say. I have already extended the chairman's sincere apology for his absence, and I will start by saying that this event couldn't have come at a better time. Indeed, 10 years after privatization of the sector is a milestone and a good time to sit, review, and assess the performance of the industry. We also need to hear from all stakeholders, both the regulator, the market participants, the customers, and indeed, even the policy makers. We all need to fully express ourselves, discuss the various challenges, and offer possible solutions. And I'm happy to note that going through the program of events, I saw a very rich CV of people that have the experience, that have the understanding of this industry. Some are retired, but not tired. I have seen the two of my former chairmen, that's Chairman Sam, and of course, the pioneer chairman of the commission. They are all among those that will be engaged in the discussion within these 2 days. So for us in the commission, we remain committed to ensuring that the Nigerian electricity sector attain its most important objective of ensuring access to all Nigerians of a stable, affordable, and safe supply of electricity that will meet our needs. The Commission has over the years introduced quite a number of initiatives towards achieving the aforementioned. The challenges notwithstanding, I wish to humbly state that the industry has been making progress, even though not at the pace we expected, but we have indeed been making progress. To this end also, we welcome the recent Electricity Act, which has now given state governments the power to not only participate in the whole supply chain, but also regulate the sector within their respective states. NAC is committed in ensuring that all state governments setting up regulatory institutions have a smooth take-off by providing them with all the necessary support. My big brother, Alex Oko, I think has left. That's the DG of BPE. He has to an extent elaborated on a number of initiatives in the sector, a number of which were initiated by the Commission and some jointly with BPE and some other agencies. The Minister too has spoken at length on SEM and of course on his future plans. I will therefore not discuss much on that. However, I want to make a clarification on a trending issue. That's the license of discourse. It's all over. People saying the license will expire this year. The discourse were initially given a 10-year license. But often the takeover, often privatization, the Commission extended their license by 5 years. So the discourse have 15-year license. So their license will expire 5 years from now, which is 2028. And I believe that for the fact that Chairman Sam is here, he's in an excellent position to offer explanation on this. But the tenor notwithstanding, it is important to state that as a regulator of the industry, we have KPIs for all the licensees. And irrespective of the remaining lifespan of the license, the regulator can withdraw this license for non-compliance of the KPIs and of course for non-compliance with the license terms and conditions. We have already issued notices to revoke the license of some discos, and in line with the provision of the law and our regulations, we are currently reviewing the response of this discourse to the notice. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all successful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, and we really apologize for not able to put your name together, and thanks for doing that for us. The tea break time, I announced earlier that in the program lineup, we don't have the tea break because of the tight schedule we have, but if you have need for it, we can just individually just go out and take something and come back, but the session will still go on. We would have loved to have tea break and come back, but that will eat into the timing. So whoever has need for it can just step out and take something. We have some things left at the entrance there while we continue with the goodwill messages. Mr. Nenche, come and take over.
All right, thank you very much, Pat. Next is a goodwill message from Mr. Laurent Tassau, Chairman, ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority, be given by his representative, Mr. Chukwemeka, Chiatula. Please put your hands together for your sisters forward.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on all protocol already observed. I will deliver the message on behalf of Mr. Laurent Tossou, the chairman of ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority. In fact, my name is Yaovi Negbeble. Shatula will come later. And I have the honor to represent the chairman of ERERA. And here is his message. I will quote him. I'm pleased to be part of the opening ceremony of this auspicious conference, being the roundtable within the framework of the 10th anniversary of the privatization of the Nigeria power sector. I'm very pleased to be part of this opening ceremony. May I first thank the organizing committee for inviting ERERA to this conference, and also congratulate the organizing committee for putting together the intense program of event with the array of moderators, speakers, panelists, and experts of various topics and sections of the conference. The ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority is putting in place the framework for the pooling of the electricity supply across the West Africa. And we were able to launch the first phase of the regional electricity market 5 years ago in June 2018. Currently, in close consultation with the West African Power Pool, we are at the last stage of the preparation for the adoption of the regional grid code, and what will pave the way for the launching of the competitive phase of the regional electricity market, the so-called phase 2 of the market. And in this market, as you can guess, the Nigeria electricity supply industry is one of the key and major actors. So ERERA is particularly elated by the fact that this conference brings together all the stakeholders in the electricity supply industry of Nigeria to share experience on the challenge and issue affecting the sector and the society at large, and to reshape the strategy of Nigeria for the coming years, where we know in the coming years the regional electricity market will become a reality. So, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, with the coming inauguration of the Information and Coordination Center of the West African Power Pool that will come in the coming weeks, Nigeria will remain the locomotive in the transition to an integrated West Africa in terms of electricity trade in the regional market. As you know, the performance of a locomotive, the efficiency of the locomotive affect the whole train. So on the strength of this, and in conclusion, I wish us all a fruitful deliberation and recommendation that will propel the electricity sector of Nigeria in his leading role in the West African electricity market. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. We have made a little observation. Please, if we have need to go out of the podium, let's do us a favor by taking the back side. It's like we're affecting the presentation. It's okay to go out, yes. You can go ease yourself, get some tea, coffee, whatever, But please, let's just go through the back while the session continues for at least some kind of decency. Thank you very much. Mr. Neche, once again. We're still on goodwill messages. We'll soon be off that, and we'll go into the main event again.
All right, thank you very much, Pat. Next, I think the final in this segment will be given from by the West African Power Pool. Chukwemeka Chiatula is here from that organization. Let's welcome Chukwemeka.
Good morning, everybody. Please permit me to stand on existing protocol. I'm standing on behalf of the Secretary General of the West African Power Pool. He extends his regrets that he will not be able to join us today, and he has permitted me to convey his deepest apologies and extended his gratitude for the opportunity to address this high-level stakeholders conference on the Nigerian electricity supply industry. As we gather here to deliberate the pivotal theme of the Nigerian electricity supply industry privatization and its 10-year milestone, the journey so far, opportunities, and the prospect, it is essential to acknowledge and commend the remarkable progress made by the Nigerian government since the initiation of the NESI privatization in 2013. This bold and ambitious reform endeavor has the potential to transform the sector and the immense benefits to the citizens of Nigeria. The primary motivation behind this privatization in NESI was to enhance the efficiency and the reliability of the energy sector, fostering the environment and attract private investment and encourage healthy competition among its market players. Today, we stand with NESI to mark a decade since the inception of this transformative process. It's become imperative to reflect upon the strides taken so far and identify challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Within the ECOWAS, that is WAP, Nigeria plays a pivotal role, boasting a 46.3% capacity share in the regional markets. As WAP, we have witnessed Nigeria's significant contribution to the wholesale trade and its contribution to the West African market. We applaud the recent signing of the Electricity Act 2023, which is slated to stimulate rapid growth within the sector and foster increase in competition among its players. Nevertheless, it's crucial to acknowledge that challenges do persist, and yet despite these obstacles, the privatization of NESI has opened up numerous opportunities, transforming the sector from a vertically integrated market to a more competitive and regulated one. The transformation has significantly enhanced the sector's appeal to private investment. The conference serves as a pivotal juncture where we can collectively assess the progress achieved over the past decade and identify prospects and opportunities within this new sphere of the competitive market. I implore all participants to engage in sincere and constructive dialogue, setting forth recommendations that will pave the way for an even more efficient and reliable energy sector. Once again, on behalf of the Secretary General, I express my utmost gratitude for the opportunity to deliver this goodwill message, and I extend my best wishes to the fruitful and successful conference. I look forward to witnessing a transformative discussion and outcomes that will emanate from this esteemed gathering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. While the session was on, we had some special personalities that came around, and would like to honor them by just acknowledging their presence. One among them is the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, who is MD Chinedu Ubo. You're welcome, sir. Yeah, you're welcome. On the list again, we have Ifoma Malo, Clean Tech Hub. All right, good to have you with us. And third on the list, we have Henry Ogiri, Communication for Power, I think Rivers State. Commission. Okay, Commission for Power, Rivers State. All right, thank you very much and welcome, sir. Now we're done with the goodwill messages. Next, we're going to, in the legislative arm, we have the way we go about this. So we're going to pick the address speech by the Right Honorable Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, Speaker of the House of Representatives. He's represented by Honorable Barrister Victor Nwakolo, Chairman House Committee on Power. Can we have him to come on board to speak with us? Mr. Nwakolo, sir? Yeah, the representative of Abbas. Yes. He's taken by surprise. Your name is given to me, so I believe you have something to give to us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on the already established protocol. I'm here to represent my boss, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. The Right Honorable Speaker, who is unavoidably absent on today's occasion. I'm sorry that Mr. Speaker is unavoidably absent due to other state functions. However, he has asked me to deliver his goodwill message. It is with great pleasure that I join you today at this conference of the 10th anniversary of the Nigerian electricity supply industry. This milestone represents a significant achievement in our nation's quest for a reliable and sustainable electricity supply. I understand that this conference serves as stock-taking and the 10th anniversary of the privatization of the power sector in 2013. Today, as we gather to acknowledge the achievements made in the power sector over the past decade since its privatization, it is crucial that we do not lose sight of the fact that the power continues to be a significant obstacle to our national development. Despite the progress made, the problem of inadequate power still remains persistent and seemingly insurmountable. The privatization of the power sector was a significant step towards addressing the challenges faced by our nation in this critical area. It aimed to introduce competition, efficiency, innovation in the sector with the ultimate goal of providing reliable and affordable electricity to all citizens. While there have been a notable improvement in certain aspects, such as increased generation capacity and reduced transmission losses, we must acknowledge that there is still much work to be done. Therefore, this conference should serve as an opportunity of retrospection in order to chart a new course that addresses the long-age challenges that have bedeviled the power generation in our country. There's no saying that one of the factors that hindered our economic development in our country is epileptic electricity supply and lack of some other basic infrastructure. The current estimation of energy delivery of 4,000 megawatts to a population of over 200 million Nigerians is grossly inadequate and falls short of efficient service and limits business opportunities, hinders investments, and raises the cost of production and good governance. We must therefore delve into why privatization has succeeded in other countries but has not yielded the same results in Nigeria. Additionally, we need to understand why smaller neighboring countries that rely on Nigeria for electricity have stable power supply while we continue to experience frequent outages. It is critical that we identify the mistakes we have made and determine what actions to be taken by the government to ensure the success of the sector. These are just a few of many questions that should be answered during this conference. By the end of our 3-day brainstorming section, it is our hope that we will come up with collapsible solutions that will turn around the tide of epileptic supply in the country. As representatives of the people, we are deeply concerned about the issues of electricity supply in Nigeria. Despite the efforts made by the legislature over the years to enact legislation that provides legal support to the operations of the power sector, numerous challenges persist. In response to these challenges, the 10th House of Representatives have prioritized the power sector in its legislative agenda. The aim is to address issues such as insufficient generation and transmission capacity, energy theft, inefficient distribution, tariff, and corruption, among other things. In this regard of energy theft, the House of Representatives are already looking at the Electricity Act of 2023 to ensure in the areas that talked about vendors that we want to review it because if you look at it, there's a big gap between the man who is the vendor himself, who goes to vandalize the transformer, who goes to pull down these lines and cells, giving him a very small penalty. You are not making the thing to serve as deterrent to the would-be vendors. So I'm looking at it that the man who is buying and the man who is committing the thing, they should carry reasonable penalties. And again, in this line direction too, you also discover there is a new trend of even the energy, there's energy theft, people bypassing it. Yes, we're talking about discos not living up to expectation, but a lot of people, it may touch the airlines, people bypassing to receive 24 hours power supply, and yet they are not ready to pay. They're all pupils. So in this area, the 10th Assembly are already working at it to ensure that if you must take power, you must pay for it. If you are not paying for the power, then you should pay for it by way of punishment. The House will equally prioritize investments in transmission and distribution infrastructures to reduce technical and non-technical losses. Decentralize energy production by promoting off-grid solutions, especially in rural areas where grid connectivity is challenging. Strengthen legislations to increase penalties. Metal tampering and vandalization of energy infrastructure. Adopt legislative measures to promote renewable energy through tax incentives, grants for investments in renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, hydro, and mandate regular and transparent audits of all entities in the energy sector to curb corruption in the sector. As part of our efforts at addressing the challenges of the power sector, the House recently directed its Committee on Power to investigate the federal government's financial interventions for the power sector since privatization in 2013. This inquiry has become imperative due to the persistent complaints from the distribution companies about revenue generation and collection, despite the government injecting over 7 trillion into the sector. I take this opportunity to invite you all to contribute to available insights and advise the committee as we strive to unravel the seemingly challenges plaguing the sector. This House looks forward to the outcome of this conference to form part of the measures to be adopted in improving our power sector for national development. I wish you very fruitful deliberations and successful conference. Thank you, and God bless you. That is Mr. Speaker's speech. But as a Nigerian, I want to ask a question before going to take my seat. Are we going to continue with this kind of privatization? Because what we find today, is it actually a complete privatization or partial? Because we have government holding 40%, discos having 60%. And Nigeria, you have 40%, but when a director from the Federal Ministry of Power does not come for the meeting does not start. The question is, who is the majority shareholder, who is the minority shareholder? If the 60% shareholders are already sitting, and the 40% shareholder is not around, and the meeting cannot start, do you actually say that, is that the right thing to be done? We really need to ask ourselves the questions. And again, you say these schools are not doing well. Yes, I won't give them a pass mark. But on the other side, the government side, have they lived up to expectation? Government agencies, are they actually paying for their bills? And when they want to disconnect them, the issue of security challenges come to bear. When they are consuming, the issue of security are not there. These are the things we need to ask ourselves questions. If in other places, though I'm hearing one language this morning about commercialization, though there will be conference where it will be dissected. We really want to ask ourselves the questions. Which way do we go? This is industry that requires a lot of resources. And for people to come, you are talking about investment. If you don't give enabling environment where it will be bankable, who is ready to put his money into a project that are not bankable? These are the areas I think this conference must look into. That we must, there are a lot of things which would, unfortunately, the DGPP is no longer, it's gone. He has delivered his paper. We want to ask question again. Well, in terms of the agreement, cleaning up the books of accounts, was that really kept? Did the government on their own part, did they keep to terms? If you did not keep to terms and you expect that it will all be well, it's going to be difficult. And I pray that, I hope there are people from Ministry of Power that they should be part and parcel of this program for the 3 days, so that whatever we are coming up with, it will be all embraced. So that in the conference to come, according to the minister, it will be easy to dissect. This is my own personal opinion, not that of the speaker. The good aspects of it was delivered by the speaker. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very, very much. That was a good one. Just like the minister made his own questions to be answered, you have your own, and I believe when the session goes on, all these questions will be answered. And I had my own, I said, what are the opportunities? What are the challenges? And what are the prospects? All this will be answered while the day goes on. Now, before we go further, a little recognition again. I have Mr. Mokhtar Bonu, CEO, Egbin Power PLC. Can we just have you on your feet, and now we appreciate you. You're welcome, sir. No, just recognizing you. Well, you want to say something? No, okay, sorry, you didn't get me well. I was just saying we want to recognize and appreciate your presence with us. You're welcome. Now we'll go to the senator side. We have His Excellency, Most Distinguished Senator Godswin Opabio, the Senate President. And he's ably represented by Distinguished Senator Eyinaya Abaribe, Chairman, Senate on Power. He's also representing Abia South. I got it right? All right, sir. You can come and give your speech.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Everyone has been standing on protocols. Because I'm not too big, let me follow them to stand so that it doesn't break the protocol when I stand on it. This is a speech by the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, CON. And we would like today to read out what he has said. But before then, let me recognize the President of Nigeria, represented here, the Speaker, and the distinguished audience. We are here today because of the expectations and the vision
Check. Check. So sorry, sir. Someone blocked the phone.
I could have just continued because a politician, you should have your campaign voice. And so we're here today because of the expectations and vision of the National Electricity Power Policy in 2001. This was further codified into law by the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, the ESPRA, of 2005, resulting in the privatization of the Power Holding Company, PHC, and the successor companies, excluding the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. Underpinning the foundational policy and the legislative initiatives at that time was the dire need to inject investment, efficiency, capacity, and creativity into turning around the moribund sector, the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI, a sector that is, as has been acknowledged by everyone, fundamentally critical and vital to our country's socio-economic prospects and our ability to take our leadership position geopolitically. At the time, inconsistent and inefficient and insufficient supply of electricity remained the bane of our inability to do so. Hence, the journey down the road of privatization. It is fitting that 10 years after the November 1, 2013 privatization and the handover of the PSC and successor companies to majority private investor ownership, that we are gathered to assess how well and how far the journey of privatization has gone. Definitely, it's not a gathering to pat ourselves on the back. It's, however, a gathering for sober assessment of what has been achieved and what has not been done, why it has not been achieved, and in what way can we ameliorate the impediments that stand as obstacles to attaining what we set out to do at the beginning, which is to have consistent 24/7 power supply that is sufficient to progress our country socio-economically. And so the question is, have we made progress? We have made some, consistent with the objectives specified under the NEPP and in tandem with expectations of Nigerians for uninterrupted power. The answer if we ask ourselves that question, will be a categorical no. However, the response, currently reflective of NESI, and our expectation is that this gathering, in reviewing everything that has happened within the last 10 years, will come up with out-of-the-box thinking and creative ideas that will urgently help to turn around the limitations that are currently within the NESI. On our part, as legislators particularly, we are happy to have played a role in seeking to progress the sector by first enacting the Electricity Act, the NMPSR, and recently the review of that act that we have just done in 2023. Under the new act, we sought to address the inconsistencies, the areas of lacunae, and to incorporate changes born of the evolution of the privatized NESI and establish grounds for broader participation of the states in the electricity value chain, as well as put in place mechanisms and measures to dissuade those who would increase our challenges by stealing electricity and vandalizing our equipment. And so the National Assembly remains committed to working with all operators and stakeholders in building an environment that will allow for the injection of massive investment and expertise that is necessary to move the Nigerian electricity supply industry to our collective aspiration and our goal, which is consistent and efficient power supply. I need to add here that even at the moment, we are amending the Electricity Act 2023 to take cognizance of certain areas that we are not brought in, and therefore we will need your involvement so that we can make that act far much more effective. In conclusion, I would like to thank the organizers of this event for inviting me to be part of this milestone that allows us to pause and take cognizance of what is required to address the current challenges. This conference is organized under a collaborative effort of all NESI operators and stakeholders, and an acknowledgement that there will be the need for everyone to work together to address the issues that are common to all, and to make sure that there is alignment in the industry, commercially and technically. It is therefore my understanding that an expected outcome of the 3-day event will be a roadmap that will encapsulate the results of the presentations and the panel sessions. And we will look forward to receiving a copy of it that will contain recommendations that we hope we can legislate on and help to move the industry forward. So we in the National Assembly were open to working in partnership with all of you, the specialists and the stakeholders in NESI, to pursue our national objective of consistent and uninterrupted power. I therefore wish all of you a vigorous and robust but productive deliberation. Thank you very much. Don't worry, I'm not going to add anything.
You're free to if you want to, but thank you all the same. Yes, we're getting to the end of this, but I would like to make a small announcement for us. While in each of the bags we're given, it contains tickets for both lunch and tea break, when we're going to have that, and it covers the 3 days. And there's going to be a ticket also in that same bag for the dinner gala night. So please, let's possibly keep our bags close to us, because we'll use that to entertain ourselves. Now, I will beg that we should have a bit of some calmness, because we're going to the main part where we have the president to speak to us. So please, movement can be suspended for a little while, because we have the head of affairs of Nigeria to speak. We have His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the President and Commander-in-Chief Chief of Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is represented by Sadiq Wanka, Special Advisor to the President on Power Infrastructure, Office of the Vice President. Let's have you on, sir. Thank you.
The President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, ably represented here today, heads of government agencies, captains of industry, ladies and gentlemen. Today we mark a significant milestone in the Nigerian electricity supply industry, the 10th anniversary of the privatization of the power sector. It is the perfect opportunity to reflect as a sector and as government on the progress achieved and the challenges faced since the unbundling and privatization of the integrated national utility. The key objectives of the privatization effort were to improve the efficiency of the sector, unlock private sector investments, and unleash the potential of the nation through an energized economy. 10 years on, I believe it is fair to say that the objectives of the sector privatization have by and large not been met. Over 90 million Nigerians lack access to electricity. The national grid only serves 15% of the country's electricity demand. This has left households and factories to rely on expensive self-generation, which supplies a staggering 40% of the country's current demand. What is worse is that the total amount of electricity that can be wheeled through the national grid has remained relatively flat in the last 10 years. The grid capacity has increased from just over 3,000 megawatts to typically just over 4,000 megawatts today, versus a 40,000 megawatt target by 2020 that the federal government had set pre-privatization. The reasons for the underperformance of the sector in the last decade are well known. There are deep commercial, governance, and operational issues that have beleaguered the sector. As of Q2 2023, for every kilowatt hour of electricity sent to the grid, only 60% of it is paid for. But as we know, even the tariff paid for that unit of electricity is far from being cost reflective, especially in light of recent devaluation of the naira. The sector has suffered from chronic underinvestment, especially in transmission and distribution. Many of the successor utilities of the PHCN have failed to meet their performance improvement targets due to technical and financial capacity issues. We are in a vicious cycle of underperformance and underinvestment, and everyone has a different view of which value chain player should be blamed for continued sector malaise. But we are where we are, and the real question we should be asking ourselves in our engagement in the next 3 days is, how do we move forward from here? In the short term, we must intensify efforts to address commercial issues and improve the investment attractiveness of the sector. Only around 45% of NESI customers are metered today, with wide variations across discos. The scale of investment needed to meter current and new customers and replace obsolete meters is not trivial. The government is committed to supporting the metering drive through the World Bank DISREP program, which should add at least 1.25 million meters, while activating the Meter Acquisition Fund to procure another 4 million meters. But we must also realize that long-term sustainable metering should be within the remit of DISCOs and their partners. We need to have a clear plan to rebase tariffs so we recognize the real costs and loss levels of the entire value chain, and we allow for adequate cost recovery for investments. We need to be clear on what shortfalls are and how we will finance them. And there must be a clear path to extinguishing historic sector debts to various value chain stakeholders. A reconciliation exercise in this regard has already begun. We need to quickly develop and execute a clear roadmap for serving profitable pools of customers. This includes industrial and agricultural clusters and strengthen participation in the West African power pool in the immediate term. And we must deepen engagement with the Nigerian public on power, including communicating sector strategy and key milestones, and curbing energy theft through community engagement and penalties. Operationally, there are a number of key imperatives that we must pursue. 80% of grid generation today is from gas. We intend to convene all relevant stakeholders to develop a gas policy for the power sector, delineating where the power sector will get gas from and how it will pay for it. We cannot build a sector on best endeavor arrangements. We need to have a single source of truth in terms of data in the sector, a national electrification plan that highlights the energy gaps, supported by clear investment plans on how to close the gaps. We need to institute a presidential task force that will monitor and unblock the progress of deployment of key projects in the sector. This includes projects that will help unconstrain the grid and deliver the full available generation capacity to our homes and factories. We have to accelerate the pace of deployment of renewables and solar in places where it makes sense. There is a real opportunity to accelerate the deployment of interconnected and isolated solar mini-grids to deliver power close to the point of use. And we will support the rollout of initiatives aimed at diesel displacement to reduce the carbon intensity of embedded power plants while supporting innovative financing schemes for solar solutions in the homes. In terms of sector governance, we have to create an environment where the worst performers do not continue to drag the sector down. All licensees must not only have the technical capacity to deliver on their license, but must have the financial muscle to invest and grow their operations. Preliminary analysis shows that DISCOs today are undercapitalized to the tune of at least 2 trillion naira. We must facilitate a reorganization of the sector or the subsector and a recapitalization process that brings in new partners and new capital to jumpstart performance in this critical section of the value chain. In light of the Electricity Act 2023, signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is important to clarify the role of states in a new national electricity framework. To that extent, I'm glad that the National Electricity Regulatory Commission has begun stakeholder engagement to define how to operationalize this key tenet of the Electricity Act. I believe this to be one of the most important assignments in the sector, and we must ensure that the output delivered through the national regulator-led discussions is a true consensus on how the sector should operate going forward. The Electricity Act has also given the national regulator the power to advise on the transition of the market away from a single bulk trader and on the unbundling and concessioning of the country's transmission network. We need to quickly build a clear transition plan with timelines and milestones on these two important issues. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of work to be done in building an electricity sector that we can all be proud of. And as we embark on this arduous task, we must go in with a number of principles to guide our decision making. We must build on what has worked in the sector, including recent strengthening of governance that contributed to a doubling of collections during the last 4 years. We must be nimble and understand that different licensees have different starting points, and different regions and states have different trajectories in how they will leverage the national grid and how they will build out their electricity markets. We need to understand that private sector investments are what will move the sector forward and must work hard to align all decision making to attract serious equity and debt investors. We need to realize the complex stakeholder map of the sector and the need for closer interministerial and cross-sector regulatory coordination. The reconstitution of the Interministerial Power Sector Working Group is a priority in this regard. And we must prioritize access to electricity. Mr. President's challenge has been universal access by the end of this decade. In this context, we must understand that customers have differing abilities to pay and must be protected through the operationalization of the Power Consumer Assistance Fund and other cross-subsidization schemes. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has made strong commitments in terms of building a $1 trillion economy in Nigeria within this decade. The President fully realizes that this plan cannot be achieved without a new trajectory for the power sector. The government is committed to providing the enabling environment that will unleash private sector capital in the sector. And the private sector will find in the government a true partner willing to listen and to unblock the challenges it faces as we collectively electrify Nigeria. Thank you so very much for listening and wish you successful deliberations.
Thank you very, very much, sir. That was a good one. Now, we're going to, if we check our brochure, we'll see that we're virtually getting to the end of the session. But we have a vote of thanks to be presented by Mr. Azu Obiaya, CEO, Association of Nigeria Electricity Distributors. Can we have Mr. Okay, he's coming. Let's give him a round of applause to make him to hasten up. You see, tall people have different way of getting to the podium. I have to use the step, but thank you, sir.
Thank you. If I may, I'd like to stand on existing protocol also, following behind our senator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today as we have gathered to initiate the inaugural session of our conference titled NESI Privatization and its 10-year milestone, the journey so far, opportunities and prospects. It is a conference that seeks to bring together the players and various stakeholders in the power industry, as well as acknowledge a milestone of the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI. We believe that it is truly a remarkable milestone. In 2022, a vision to create a platform that would bring together professionals, thought leaders, and innovators in the power industry began to percolate. A major tenet of the vision was to provide a safe place where ideas could be exchanged, knowledge could be shared, and collaboration promoted. And today, as we have gathered to look back on the last decade of the privatization effort and deliberate on the way forward, I am proud to say that we believe we have achieved just that. In our quest to address the ailments of our sector, as well as build a path to electricity supply reliability, sufficiency, and commercial sustainability. Over the years, our power industry has grown and evolved, albeit with hiccups that we hopefully will seek to improve at the culmination of this conference. Regardless, the evolution of the sector has attracted highly skilled and talented professionals, as well as committed investors who are well represented today. Thus, it is with your participation in this conference that we seek to continue the trajectory and evolution of NESI with your experience, insights, creativity, and commitment. In particular, it is our fervent hope that all your contributions during this conference will result in a way forward or a roadmap that will take NESI into the next decade, one that will be characterized by efficiency and strong growth. Today, as we acknowledge the 10th anniversary of the privatization of NESI and initiate deliberations and discussions that will further move the sector forward, we must reflect on the journey we have undertaken together, recognizing the accomplishments and milestones we have achieved as a collective, while noting that much work still remains to be done. Nevertheless, we acknowledge the dedication and hard work that has gone into bringing NESI to this point of its evolution. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed presenters, speakers, and moderators who have taken the time and effort to come and share their expertise and insights with us for this 3-day conference. Your valuable contributions will enrich our understanding and push the boundaries of knowledge in the power industry. We would also like to express our appreciation to our sponsors and partners. Your support has been instrumental in enabling us to organize this conference and ensure, hopefully, its success. Your commitment to innovation, sustainability, and the future of the power industry is truly commendable. The organizing committee deserves special mention for their tireless efforts in planning and executing this event. Their dedication, attention to detail, and passion for their work have all been truly remarkable. Without their hard work and commitment, we would not be here today. Specifically, I would like to appreciate the efforts of the chairman, Professor Stephen Ogaji, who calmly and methodically provided guidance to this effort. However, there is a saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. In this case, we must profoundly appreciate the efforts of Dr. Joy Ogaji, whose brainwave it was to put together this event. And you all know her, Mama Akara is what we fondly call her. Not only did she provide the genesis of the event, but she also took on the lioness's share of making this event happen. And boy, did she ever. Thank you, Joy. Last but not the least, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of you, our attendees and special guests. Your presence here today is a testament to your commitment to the power industry. Your active participation in the discussions and events throughout this conference, we are sure, will make this a truly engaging and enriching experience for all of us. As we close the events for this morning, or afternoon rather now, let us plan to push the boundaries of innovation, creativity, and exceptional thought as we head into the technical sessions. resulting ultimately in sustainability and excellence in the power industry. We thank you and we urge you, we implore you, we beg you to please do participate in the sessions that are ahead of us, because it is the only way we will get the contributions that are critical for us to turn the sector around. And on a personal note, personal observation, while we were putting together the brochure, we looked at the profiles of all the participants, and I was astonished. I was astonished at the depth of experience, the depth of education, the broadness of intellect. And I couldn't help myself. I picked up the phone and I called my colleague, Dr. Ogaji, and I asked her, how is it possible with this breadth, broadness of intellect, education, elite education too, that we can't turn the sector around? So, ladies and gentlemen, I put out the challenge to you. This is the time to utilize that intellect, that quality education, so that we can indeed turn our sector around and ultimately move our country forward. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I would love to take the opportunity to do just one thing that is not on the program, and I have my reasons. I'm a woman, and I know what it takes for such a big event to be organized with such a, I won't say it's a short time, but the energy and the kind of things that I see. Where is Mama Akara, Dr. Joy Ogazi? I want you to come on the podium and take a bow, please. You did perfectly well. Let me give you a hand this way. And then you come this way. Yeah, thank you. That is the lady behind the whole organization. This we are saying, she handled it. My being here, courtesy her. So thank you very much. Thank you. Take a bow. All right, Mr. Nenche, come on board. He will just give us 1 or 2 seconds of his expertise, and then I sign you off.
All right, thank you very much, Apart, and also Dr. Joy for all this, putting all this together. Distinguished Senator Aberibe, sir, thank you so much. Once again, we take responsibility for when the mic went off. I don't know why it was when 2 distinguished members of the National Assembly were speaking that the mic had issues. Honorable members, sir, Chairman House Committee on Power, when you were talking and there was this crack in your voice, please, so sorry about that. That one is not about us. I think that one came with you. So we will not take responsibility for your cough. And when you were talking, at some point I was tempted to shout off the mic. Thank you so much. Let's clap for distinguished members. Representative of Mr. President, thank you so much, sir. You know, when we see youthful personalities in power, it gives us the youth hope. Thank you very much, Representative of the President. Just on a lighter note, on the extreme end, the man from USAID, you said, from the land of the brave, the home of the free and the land of the brave. Thank you so much. And that's Mr. Brooke Adams. In my culture here in Nigeria, welcome to Nigeria, the pride of Africa. I will give you a Nigerian name and a village in Nigeria. Your name is Brooks Adam, but today your name is Brooke Emeka Adam. That's your Nigerian name is Emeka. Your village is Okigwe. Yes. Why Mr. Mukhtar Bono is still watching? Mr. Mukhtar, as we prepare to round up this segment, your name is Mukhtar Bono, but this day I'll call you Mukhtar Al-Hassan Bono. Your village is Chibok. Thank you very much.
That was a nice one. Thank you, Mr. Nenche. Now, we're going to please be on our feet for the national anthem, please. But again, after that, we're still going to have a seat. There's just 1 or 2 announcements I'll make. There's an order which we'll take. So, media, are you ready?
All right. Father
Media, thank you. Please, can we have a seat again, please? Rep of the President, please. And every other distinguished, no, you can have a seat. I'm just asking for your indulgence. We're going to have photo ops, and we have the format we're going to take. Every other person, please, I'm sorry, we're going to still sit in our various places while the rep of the President, Senate President, House of Reps, and Professor Ogazi, you can come up, and that's the first setting of the snapshot. We're going to do it here. And there will be the second one, which once they're done, I'll announce that again. So, sir, please. And you. Where's the photographer? You'd be sanctioned, though. I thought you were ready. Because everybody is a bit tired. We need to go out and take a little break. All right. The rep of, okay, I think the four of them are there. Okay, I don't know if you would like to participate, but then again, we will have all guest speakers and then the vice chairman of the committee. Is he here with us? And every other person that is interested can come again to join and snap. Every other person, yes, all of us, the guests, the speakers, by the way. Those that were here and they presented. All right. Okay, here. You can join, Ms. Mia. And you were also part of it, sir. Owakolo, and the two of you, sorry, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Now, we're going to allow the VVIP to take their step out while we'll just take about 15 minutes for a break, not lunch, but a break. Then we'll be back to go into the first session, which is session A, before we'll have our lunch. Please? Am I clear enough? All right. We'll just take about 15 minutes of our time outside just to get acquainted, take something, but not lunch. We'll be back in here. Huh? Okay, the